What's up, everybody? Happy Monday. I've got my coffee for those of you who are on the West Coast or Mountain Time. Still morning, still appropriate. Everybody on the East Coast, Midwest, I hope you're staying warm. RA, I hope you're warm out there in DC. How was your weekend? How are you feeling?
I've eaten a lot of latkes. I've watched a lot of basketball. I'm excited to talk some hoops.
Awesome. Well, as always, we are happy to welcome you guys into our AP Top 25 reaction show every week, same time. We want to appreciate also our great producers who make this show possible and everybody at Bleacher Report. So, we're right in the midst of, okay, finals activity between last week and this week. We were talking before the show that, there was a solid amount of games, but not as much as usual. The poll just dropped literally about 30 seconds ago. Not a lot of movement when you look at that top seven, but you start having a little movement around eight and nine when it comes to Oklahoma and TCU. We'll dive into that. We've got a new name in the top 25. Princeton makes the jump. Oklahoma State is out. My heart. I'm not going to dive into it too much, but definitely a really interesting week in terms of in-state rivalries. You had some teams that were totally off this week as in terms of UCLA, but you guys know the drill. Let's just dive right in. No changes at number one. UConn still sitting at 10-0 on the season. 24 first place votes. Arya, you made a point. That's one more than last week, correct?
Yeah, it's quite interesting. I always like to dive into those unique numbers of
Yeah.
how a win or a not as big win impacts things. Very interesting, especially with what Texas has been doing.
Right. I actually thought it would be the other way, especially what Texas did to Baylor the other day. But very, very fascinating. UConn 24 first place votes. They dominated USC 79 to 51. Fudd had 17. Sarah Strong kind of struggled a little bit, but picked it up. Ended up having 14. Shade had 15 for UConn. They will play Marquette on Wednesday, and then Iowa on Saturday. Not a ton of huge matchups this week, but we've got a few for you. That's one of them. UConn and Iowa on Saturday. Going to be interesting to see how Iowa bounces back after losing to Iowa State. Coming in at number two, Texas 12 and 0 on the season. They beat UTRGV 110 to 45. Clearly took care of business in that one. Madison Booker had 28 points. 10 rebounds, 10 assists, triple double. She finally got herself a triple double. Carlton added 21 points, Harmon 14 assists. Then they turn around and they crushed Baylor yesterday, 89 to 54. Booker had 27. Texas forced 30 turnovers and had 42 points off those turnovers. Here's the thing. That was impressive to me, incredibly impressive. But you do have to make note. Baylor was without Talia Scott, who went down with an ankle injury. I think it was maybe 12 to 15 minutes within the game. I don't know how much of a difference that necessarily would have made, but that margin would have, in theory, been a little bit closer. But
Mhm.
Texas was totally dominant in that game in terms of the turnovers and the way they just made Baylor look honestly really disheveled for 40 minutes. Texas will play Northwestern State on Wednesday and South Dakota State on Sunday. This is a team that is very, very good. I am very surprised we don't see more number one place votes for this Texas team. They are the only team in the country with 5 wins over top 25 opponents, including number three, number four, number 12, and number 13. So, thoughts on Texas, Aria, real quick? I mean, do you agree with me? Do you feel like the voters got it right this week?
I think it is so hard when you get to this point in the season and we see teams playing completely different opponents. And how do you value this win versus this showing versus that showing? Is it just about getting the win? Is it about how dominant you do it? I can see so many. I mean, this goes back to when we're voting for, MVPs, Defensive Player of the Year. So many things go into your thought process.
Yeah.
Look, for me, I think as the season goes on and a team like Texas, you start to give them more and more votes because I'm the type of person who likes to build up that rivalry of the one and the two. And until someone slips up, I want to make those two teams feel like they are the top two teams. I don't think there's as big a gap as maybe the first place votes make it seem.
Well, they're going to have an opportunity soon. If they haven't proven it enough, they're about to because we are getting ready to enter into conference play, SEC. Looking forward to that. Number three, South Carolina, 10 and 1 on the season. No changes yet. They beat Penn State big, 95 to 55. Joyce Edwards was really good, had 29.6 steals. They're going to play South Florida on the 18th and then go to Florida Gulf Coast on Saturday, which is interesting. to see South Carolina go out on the road like that. Real quick, number four, Arya. I know they didn't play this week, but just update us.
They didn't play this week, coming off that big win over Oregon, December 7th. They'll play Cal Poly on Tuesday and Long Beach State on Saturday. And then LSU, we got to talk about them. Still sitting pretty, 11 and 0 in the fifth place. Beat Louisiana Tech 87-61. Michaela Williams had 19 points. Flagey had 13 and 10. They will play Morgan State on the 16th and UT Arlington on Sunday. But before we get out of the top five, real quick, got a few comments in the chat that I want to highlight. Cheetah, shout out to Cheetah. You're here with us every
Cheetah.
week.
I
Much
love it.
respect, much love. A dominant win over the Trojans. The Huskies still control the keys. I agree with you. Like again, it's battling that you're in first place, you take care of business. That should
Right.
almost raise you up a higher level. I get it. Texas Longhorns is going to have to prove themselves in conference play. They're not going to get the benefit of the doubt from us. Very, very true. And a nice lead up to a placement later on. How did Iowa not fall after that loss? Rachel, I know you're going to have
Thank
some thoughts on that.
you. Thank you. That was my very first reaction as soon as the poll dropped. We'll get to that here shortly. Okay, number six, Michigan. No movement yet. 9-1 on the season. They beat Akron 85-59. Had five players in double figures. They're going to play Oakland on Sunday for their lone game of the week. Still very impressed with this Michigan team. I don't know if you can necessarily call them a dark horse when they've been really strong at this sixth spot, but we know that this is a team that is deep. We know they have a lot of weapons on this team, and I'm really looking forward to what they can do in Big Ten. I think we're getting to the point of the season where like everybody's just ready for conference play. We're tired of the cupcakes. We've had a few really good matchups, but man, we are ready to see conference play and these teams beating up on each other. Number seven is Maryland. I'll pass it off to you.
Well, they beat up Delaware State 91-21, just ridiculous. Delaware State had 5 points in the second, third, and fourth quarter. That is an absurd thing for me to be saying out loud. Ozzie had 11 and 11. Garzone and Okinawa each added 18. We'll play Friday against Central Connecticut State in their last game before Christmas. Garzone, a player that we were chatting about before we went live, spoken a lot in WNBA mock draft chatter, has really gotten going after a slow start, getting like 18, 15, 10, and then like 15 again in another game. So finally getting that going, as you pointed out, Rachel, for WNBA fans, pay attention to that shooting percentage, specifically the 3-point one. That's going to be a big one. Rachel, I'm curious about 8 and 9 in your eyes.
Okay, this is just, I feel like it's just like I'm getting some bad juju here with the Big 12 this week. Okay, I got my tail between legs. Oklahoma and TCU have swapped. TCU is still undefeated. Oklahoma won this week, but I think the voters valued Oklahoma's win. I don't know. I don't know that I agree. This TCU dropping down to 9 from 8 is not a reflection of them. If anything, maybe strength of schedule. Their only really solid win is against number 10 NC State at the time. Nonetheless, coming in at number 8 is Oklahoma. This is the first movement of the poll. 11-1 on the season, up to 8 from number 9. They beat Little Rock 103-48. Reagan Beers continues to be really good. She had 26 points, 15 rebound double-double. And then they turn around and they beat Oklahoma State 92-70. All five starters in that game scored in double figures, or double digits. Beers and Chavez, 22 respectively. Actually, Chavez had 15. Beers also had 12 rebounds. She's just an absolute rebounding machine. They're going to be off this week, and they don't play again until the 22nd when they face North Carolina Central. So I'm fine with that. Maybe it's a little recency bias. Again, maybe the strength of schedule. I do think Oklahoma's been tested a little bit more than TCU. Nonetheless, let's talk about TCU, who's coming up at 9, down one spot, remains undefeated on the season. They beat Jacksonville yesterday, 89-49 in their lone game of the week. Like I said, 11-0. Olivia Miles earned her 8th career triple double, her second of the season, back to back. I asked somebody yesterday, when was the last time we had back to back triple doubles? Clara Silva, the really, really, really talented post player out of Portugal, 21 and 10 double double. She went a perfect 10 of 10 from the field. The only one of two players this entire season who've gone 10 from 10 from the field. They're going to play Arkansas Pine Bluff on Tuesday and then Kansas State on Saturday to open up Big 12 play. I think anyone who follows TCU, this team is incredibly talented. We've talked about Olivia Miles. We've talked about Marta Suarez. I think, you start to get Clara Silva coming along a little bit, the sophomore, who I know has really high expectations. I'm just ready to see this team tested. Right now, it's like, yes, I know they're really good, but I'm tired of the cupcake games. They've taken care of business, they've done a really good job. I'm excited to see this team tested in the Big 12. Are they going to run through the Big 12? I think it's very possible. That's how much talent they have, but I just don't know that we've seen enough in the non-conference, and I'm pretty sure the voters probably agree with me on that one. But nonetheless, I still am really high on TCU. Coming in at number 10, Iowa State, who doesn't move, even though they beat Iowa. Literally, there's no movement. Iowa and Iowa State, who were 10 and 11, played each other. Iowa State won, Iowa lost, and they both just sat the same. I don't know if I agree with this. I think there's got to be some type of rewarding to Iowa State for beating somebody who's that close to being a top 10 program. So I don't quite understand the thought process as we're getting into this portion of the poll. But nonetheless, Iowa State, as we said, they beat Iowa 74 to 69. Honestly, I think that was the game of the week. Audie Crooks had 30 and 10. Addie Brand had 20 points and 12 rebounds. Jada Williams had 11 points and a career high 12 assists. She's putting up career numbers when it comes to her assist numbers. Of course, it's easy when you can throw the ball into Audie Crooks. Then they won big against Northern Iowa yesterday, 81 to 53. Audie Crooks did not play in that game, was out with just a minor injury, not expected to be anything big. More than anything, I think it's just an opportunity to rest this week. Addie Brown was huge. She had her second double-double in a row. She really stepped up. They're now 12 and 0 on the season and 3 and 0 versus in-state opponents. If we remember, Iowa State last year struggled against in-state opponents. So, there was a little bit of a chip on their shoulder not being able to do that last year and to make a statement this year. Coming in at 11, Iowa lost to Iowa State, as we said. They were down by as many as 17 at one point. Chit Chat Wright had 21 points. She was really good in that one. Stolke had 10 points and 15 rebounds. They turned around and bounced back, beat Lindenwood 102 to 68. Stolke dropped 31 points, but continued to struggle from the free throw line. They are going to play number one ranked UConn, as we said earlier. That's one of the big games this week. Do they have enough to actually test UConn? To be determined. That one will be on Saturday. Really looking forward to that matchup. Who we got coming in at 12?
Before we get to that, we got a few in the chat. King Lion Crown, it's UConn versus everybody. I wouldn't know about everybody, but I'm genuinely there with you. Tulip, shout out to Tulip also here every week with us. Appreciate you. And I say that mostly because Rachel's going to be really offended at this next comment. ACC and Big 12 are cupcake conferences this year, especially with Talia out now. I mean,
Well,
just sip the coffee.
for the record, the Big 12 is 8 and 4 against the ACC this year. So I don't know what your cutoff of cupcake is, but I would say the Big 12 is dominating the ACC. If anyone's a cupcake right now, it's the ACC. Anyway, keep going.
All right. All right. Juan Holly 5066. Michigan and Michigan State is on the come up. Let's go. We got a Midwesterner in here. I love it. Tulip back again with last week. Washington went up after losing to USC, who stayed the same this week. Iowa State is put after losing to a similar ranked Iowa State. Honestly, I'm going to disagree with you, Rachel. Much respect to you, but my whole thing with that is I don't know who Iowa State would jump ahead. I agree with your take on Oklahoma TCU with the adjustments with the top 10. It's hard to really break into that without anybody above you having a big slip up. I'm shocked, though, and I'll agree with most people on this. I'm shocked Iowa did not drop at all. I think we saw enough from Kentucky and Vanderbilt to maybe move up a little bit. I don't know. Who knows? Who we at? We're now at number 12, and I kind of buried the lead. Kentucky at number 12, Rachel. They beat Belmont 77-69. Strack had 18 points. Hassett added 19 and 10, double-double. That's 4 wins in a row. They will play Wright State on Friday for the lone game of the week. And then coming in at 13, Rachel, let me pass that on to you because I know they didn't play.
Vanderbilt did not play this week. We'll get out real quick. They'll play tonight against South Florida at home, and then Albany on the 18th, and then Texas Southern on Saturday. Similar thing when it comes to Vanderbilt is like a TCU. I'm ready to see them compete in the SEC. Ready to see what's possible. All right, who we got at 14? You take it.
Ole Miss. Ole Miss, I believe, yes. Ole Miss up 3 spots coming in at 14th. Last week was 17th. They beat Wofford 86-52. McMahon had 24 and 11. Beat SC State 91-32. So, positive for us, just in the sense of seeing some offensive outputting. They'll play Mississippi Valley State on the 17th and Old Dominion on Sunday for a 2-game week. Yes, Rachel.
How does Ole Miss get a 3-game jump after they drop by losing to an unranked Kansas State?
That's fair. I
I'm
was
having some
shocked. Yeah.
issue. I got some issues this week, obviously. I'm on one right now. I don't quite understand the three spot jump for Ole Miss. They didn't do enough, in my opinion, after losing to a Kansas State team who's barely maybe 500 right now. Sorry, go ahead.
No, no, no. Well, coming in next at 15th, I'm with you on that. I got some questions about some rankings in here, but coming in at 15th is Baylor, Rachel. Let me let
I'll
you
take it.
take that one away.
I'm a little surprised they only dropped down 2 spots after that loss to Texas, and maybe they're just kind of one. It's expected, I think, with Texas being that dominant, and then you have Talia Scott go down. But Baylor beat Alabama State, huge 90-36. Talia Scott had 30. Jana Van Geitenbeek had her first career triple double in that game. We've got 4 Big 12 triple doubles so far this season, which leads any other conference drastically. And then they lose to Texas really bad, 89-54. Scott only played 14 minutes before she went down with a really bad ankle injury. Have not gotten an update on that one. No Baylor players scored in double digits. They're going to play Southern on Thursday and then undefeated Texas Tech on Sunday. That is one of my games of the week. Baylor and Texas Tech. I think I'm really excited. I'm not, I don't know. This is me going against my own kind, but Baylor, I don't know, man. I just don't know. It'll be interesting. It really hinges on Talia Scott and can she be healthy and can she be in that game? I just don't know. I'm not sold on Baylor so far. Number 16, Louisville, up 6 spots. Obviously, one of the biggest jumps of the week. They beat Ball State.
I
Chirp,
thought you were gonna
chirp.
skip. I thought you were gonna skip this one because of that. All right,
No,
continue, Rachel.
no, it's fine. Ball State, my Cardinals, 93-62. Then they beat North Carolina, 76-66. Barry was clutch in overtime. Louisville controlled it. They just completely took care of business, went 10-0. North Carolina did not score at all in overtime. Then they will play Eastern Kentucky Wednesday and Tennessee Saturday. So
That
Louisville,
one.
Tennessee, that's a good matchup. Really looking forward to that one, which segues right into number 17 coming in Tennessee. You can take it.
They beat Winthrop 112-40. Barker had 20 and 10. Double double. Will play Louisville on Saturday for the lone game of the week. To me, that is the game of the week for me. I am so excited. I've been keeping a close eye on Louisville so far. Obviously, I saw them live early on in the season against UConn, but I've been really impressed with late game, maybe not execution's the right word because some of those games they lost, but late game play, there's a never give up mentality, and they obviously are well coached. This is a fun, exciting team, and Tennessee is a team that we've talked about a lot over the past few years and are just fun to watch also. Who's coming in at 18?
Coming in at an eight, I'm sorry, 18. North Carolina down 6 spots. Lost to Louisville, as we said. It's just one of those games. I don't know that I know enough about North Carolina to really speak to what I think. If this is right, if this is good. All I know is I'm not surprised Louisville took care of business in this game. I think that they have been steadily creeping around, then they were getting votes, then they broke into the poll. They're really trending in the right direction. I think that anyone who has watched Jeff Walls and the Louisville Cardinals and just the tradition, I say this every week, you should not be surprised that Louisville's able to go in and take care of business and win a game like that. North Carolina will play Wilmington on Wednesday and then Charleston on Sunday. Coming in at number 19, USC. They're down 3 spots, 7-3 on the season. They lost to UConn, as we said. Jazzy Davidson had a really off night, only had 10 points, went just 3 of 13 from the field. Kennedy Smith had 16. Just really struggled from the 3-point line. They will look to bounce back this week on Thursday versus Cal Poly. And then Sunday versus Cal in the Invisalign Bay Area Women's Classic. I'm actually looking forward to that. Cal is a really strong program over the last couple years. I think that could be an interesting one. USC is kind of one of those teams, obviously not having Juju, and then you've got a freshman in Jazzy Davidson who's going to have her freshman struggles at times. Where does this team really fare in the Big 12 conference? Can they make a run? Are they going to be one of those middle of the pack teams that just takes their bumps and wins some games here and there? I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the potential is for this USC team, but I'm really looking forward to that game against Cal over the weekend. Coming in at number 20 is Notre Dame. They beat Morehead State 97-48. Hidalgo had 26, 11 rebounds and 6 steals. And then they beat James Madison 78-65. Prosper dropped 24 points They are off this week. They're going to play Bellarmine on Sunday. So a quiet week, finals week. Everyone's gearing up for the holiday and looking to maybe play some sort of lighter game before they go on the little Christmas break, and everyone has an opportunity to be with their family. So that's why this week's a little light between finals and also before everybody takes a little bit of a break. 21 Ohio State, they beat Northern Kentucky 94 to 62 on Thursday. Cambridge was really good, had 33 points. Then they turn around and beat Toledo 85 to 60. Cambridge dropped 23 in that game. They will not play this week. They are back in action on the 22nd against Western Michigan, looking to go into the holiday break with a big win. Coming in at 22. Aria, you want it?
Before we get there, we got a few in the chat
Oh,
still. Big shout out to our chatters today. King Lion is back. One of the biggest issues for the Trojan is that the offense doesn't seem to exist against top 10 opponents. Thoughts?
I'll be honest, I haven't watched enough to really think about this team offensively. Like I think at times it looks like they've got a high-powered offense. But when you watch their, or when you look at the scores and you look at the numbers against those ranked opponents, I agree. I mean, it looks like they struggle, at least to be able to manufacture points outside of maybe one or two players. So,
Another chat said they want Alabama. Alabama should be in a top
oh,
25. They're getting some votes. We'll
they
get
are.
to that in a moment. Very exciting. I'm with you. And then I'm not surprised that Notre Dame is not over Southern Cal. I thought the head-to-head record should matter.
Okay.
Moving on. Cool. Moving on to number 22 this week. Washington is down 2 spots. And something that you didn't mention, Rachel, with the Ohio State is that of the teams outside of the top or the bottom 12, only one for no movement. We saw a lot of movement in this back half of the top 25, but the Ohio State stayed strong at
Yeah,
21.
right.
At 22, Washington, who is down 2 spots, they beat Green Bay in a close game, 79-74. Sellers dropped a 30 piece, and Howell added 11 and 12. They'll play Stanford on Friday and Pacific on Sunday this week. I'm losing my spot, so Rachel, I need to pass it back over to you. Who's at
Okay.
23?
23, we got Nebraska still undefeated on the season. How about, I like it. My Huskers, they're doing well. They beat Omaha on Tuesday as they should, 87 to 35. Hake matched her career high with 17 points, and then they beat Illinois State, my hometown team. Dang, I'm really getting beat up this week,
Rough
man.
week for you, man.
They beat Illinois State 85 to 44 on Sunday. Britt Prince had 13, 6, and 6. She keeps kind of flirting with that triple double, man. She is so impressive. If you haven't had a chance to watch Britt Prince, I say it every week. Again, please do. They will play Cal Baptist next Sunday. So interesting. I mean, Nebraska, they were receiving votes for a period of time. And then I think it was maybe last week. Last week was when they kind of broke in, or the week before, and now they're up 1 spot. So they went from receiving votes to 25 to 24, 23, whatever it may be. Really been impressed with the Huskers. Again, I keep saying it. We're at that point of the season where we can't really measure a whole lot else with some of these non-conference games. It's like, okay, let's get through the holidays and let's go see everybody kind of bang up with each other. Thankfully, we're going to get some Big 12 action this weekend so we can have an opportunity to really see where these teams stack up. Coming in at 24, Michigan State up 1 spot after they had dropped. They beat DePaul 90 to 46 in the lone game of this past week. They needed to bounce back after that loss to Wisconsin. We questioned it last week. Would they drop out of the top 25 poll? They did not. They stayed in at 25, and now they're up, bouncing back in a way they needed to. They will face Indiana State on Sunday. Again, their only game of the week that will wrap up their non-conference play before they get into Big Ten action. Okay, and as we said before, Oklahoma State dropped out. They had been in the poll. I'm pretty sure they've been in there the entire year so far.
Hmm.
Lost to Oklahoma, as we said, 92 to 70. Micah Gray had 22, but they just shot really poorly from the perimeter. They're going to play Tulsa tonight to open up Big 12, and then they will open up Big 12 play on Sunday versus Cincinnati. This team can score a ton of points. They're up there with LSU. They dropped 100 5 times. It's just, I think at times they lack a little bit of interior size. It causes some matchup problems, and that was one of the biggest things with Oklahoma. Like, what do you do with somebody like a Reagan Beers? So Oklahoma State drops out of the poll Princeton is in the poll. Okay, we've had a lot of people who've been really thinking Princeton should be in here. Let me just catch everybody up to speed. They've won 8 in a row. They're 10-1 on the season. They've got wins over Georgia Tech, Villanova. Their lone loss came to number 9 Maryland by 4 points. They beat Rice. They beat Penn State, Maryland, Eastern Shore, a really solid Rhode Island program, and then they beat DePaul. Honestly, and they beat Seton Hall. They beat Belmont. I mean, this is really interesting. This is a team that they've been battle tested in terms of Power Four conference play. So I think this is justified. I think this is the right time. So Princeton in the poll. Oklahoma State drops out. That's the big change of the week. Let's get into the others receiving votes real fast. Oklahoma State's the highest one. No surprise. They received 35. Texas Tech still inching their way. They've got 26
Game
votes.
by game.
They're going to play again on Wednesday. If you feel like seeing my face again, I'll be calling that one down in Lubbock. I'm really looking forward. This is a big week for Texas Tech. If they can take care of business against Baylor, okay, I think you finally have attention. The issue with Texas Tech is they're beating Power Four opponents, but they're not top tier Power Four opponents, right? They handled SMU. They took care of business against Arkansas. The Mississippi State win was probably their highest caliber win. And then going on the road to New Mexico, that was a good road win, but like they haven't got that like earth-shattering,
Hmm.
attention-grabbing win. So pay attention. And then for those of you who were talking about Alabama, Alabama getting 13 votes, Georgia 12, NC State 8, Arizona State 1. Molly Miller's got her squad rolling right now, undefeated to the best start in Arizona State program history, 12-0 on the season. Actually, very impressive for a first-year head coach. So Arizona State got 1 vote, and Illinois got 1 vote. Last thing I want to do before we sign off of here is just kind of recap some of the big games this week. Reminder, everybody, it is a little bit slower of a week with finals and the holiday, but we do have UConn and Iowa on Saturday. That's going to be on
Big game.
Fox. We got Louisville versus Tennessee on Saturday as well, so that's going to be what I'm doing this Saturday.
Hmm.
TCU and Kansas State. As we said before, Big 12 kicking off action this weekend. So, not that Kansas State is they've had to reload and rebuild after what they did in that Sweet 16 run last year, but this is a team that's got some talent. They've got that win over Ole Miss. So they're very up and down. They're very inconsistent, but it will be good to see TCU tested against K-State. That's on Saturday as well. One game that I'm really looking forward to is Iowa State and Kansas. Obviously, Iowa State has taken care of business. Their win against Iowa was impressive, and they needed to have that win. It was a little bit of a lighter non-conference, but Kansas is a team that's got a great recruiting class. You got Samaya Nichols, who's one of the best scoring and facilitating guards in all of the country. Clearly, there's a little bit of a rivalry there. So, looking forward to Kansas and Iowa State on Sunday, Texas Tech and Baylor on Sunday, as I've
Big
continued to
game.
talk about. And then USC and Cal on Sunday. I think, that one I need to be locked into because I want to really take a look at this USC team as they kind of open up the gates with Big Ten play. Before we let everybody go, is there anything else in the chat? I don't have it pulled up right now.
No, no, no. The chat is done. We knocked it all good. I just need to stress how excited I am for that Tennessee Louisville game. I think that's going to be an electric game.
I love it. I love it. Well, you guys know the drill. We appreciate you for joining us this week. Have a fantastic week. Stay warm, enjoy the action, and we will catch you 1 week from now, same time, same place.